So before we move forward, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a situation um, that has taken place in Ukraine. A lot of things are going on, but I figured that I would just focus on this particular aspect of it so that we could just put prayer to it because there's a lot of fear happening in that country and a lot of fear that is taking place right now. And we want to pray for God to take power over what's going on in Ukraine and what's going on with this war. But we also want for God to protect people who are being exposed to danger. So I just wanted to share this video with you, and then we could probably have a chat about that and continue down the topic of how to overcome fear. God bless.
Africans and Caribbeans are being denied at the Poland border to leave Ukraine safely. They are prioritizing white people and forcing Africans and Caribbeans to stay while they get to leave Ukraine safely. This is sick and inhumane. There are women and children with their babies that they are denying access to safety.
These are the black community. We are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates.
I have some information that can be very helpful and resourceful to people trying to exit Ukraine. So I need y'all to please boost this video as much as possible. I'm getting ready to post them right now. Okay, so here are some numbers I found that can be of assistance. There's also this. I understand that we are here in America and we may feel safe. We're African Americans. Those are still our people, and we need to help.
And I just share this video because there are a lot of injustices that are happening around the world. I just wanted to highlight this because if you find yourself in a situation like this, it would make you highly, highly full of fear because your physical life is in danger, your children's lives are in danger. And we want to pray for people who find themselves in the situation. It's horrible experiencing racism in any society. But when you're going through war and you're going through a situation like this, when you have children, that should probably be the first to be let out, and you're having people doing things on a racial divide, it's very, very concerning. So I just kind of brought this video up to say that in North America, we have a tendency from a logical perspective to look around and say, I don't got nothing to fear. But I think that there's a lot of spiritual fear that people have. And depending upon how our environment changes, our environment can elicit fear out of us. So we have a people group who are in a very, not just a people group, the whole nation is in a horrific and a terrible situation. But then now you're having the amplification of racism within this kind of situation. That's just terrible. So we want to pray about the whole entire situation, but we also want to pray for the hearts of men and women that God would dispel fear from them. Because when crisis comes, people do the evil that's on the inside of them. So it's very important that when we're in a place where we don't have crisis, that we begin to pray and we ask God to take all fear out of us, to take all prejudice out of us, to take all evil out of us, all hate out of us. Because if we don't do that, when we find ourselves in crisis, we begin to do things like we're seeing is happening in Ukraine. Now, you already have a horrible, horrible situation with Russia going into a country to take it over. But now that country is sinning against God by demarcating groups of people. So what I've discovered about life is whenever you find yourself in crisis, you don't want to have an evil heart in the midst of crisis because it just makes the crisis worse. So we really want to just pray about the situation as a whole, but we also want to pray about the spiritual situation. So we want to pray about the natural situation of war. We want that to be dealt with. But we also want the spiritual situation of people's hearts and the evil in people's hearts to be changed because God is real. And God takes into consideration our hearts, and he takes into consideration the things that we do. So it's very important for us to get to the place where we have a clean heart. And for many people, it takes a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a process that you have to really dispel the spirit of fear, and you need to quiet the voice of fear so that you can be able to be a person who is a person of love. You can look at your neighbor and see them as a person who deserves love. You can be able to see that you need to be kind and fair to everybody, and that you don't judge people based upon pretty much anything, even within their character sometimes. Because that's something where we feel a little more free to judge on. But even a person's character, we shouldn't fully judge them until we get to talk to them, get to know them a little bit better, because people have been through some very, very difficult things, and people, have allowed fear to ravage their lives in so many ways. So I just wanted to share that video to encourage you to pray on the situation, to pray for our brothers and sisters, and to trust that God is able to make a way for them. But we also want to pray for Ukraine, that God would deliver that country's spirit, and not just deliver them from being set free from Russia, but to be delivered from being set free from the enemy, from darkness, and from Russia.